Alright, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Heroes of Might and Magic Olden Era faction reveal. Today we have Sylvan. Sylvan's always been my second favorite faction throughout the entire series, so we're going to watch this faction reveal video real quick. I'm going to hide myself, and then we will come back and talk about it a little bit in slow-mo and go over some things. So please don't forget to like and subscribe. Check out all my other Heroes of Might and Magic Olden Era content thus far, and more to come, of course, as well as any other videos like Heroes 5 or plenty of other games. But we will see you back here in a few seconds, a few minutes. I actually did not see that that is a woman in that tree. That's pretty cool. Alright, everybody. That was the Sylvan faction reveal. I'm going to throw myself back up on here, and we're going to slow this down a little bit. We'll just go half speed so we can talk about it. But as I said, Sylvan has always been one of my favorites for sure. Always number 2, you know. Gotta stay loyal to my Undead Necropolis team that we see here on the left. And then look, Sylvan's over here on the right. So this is my kind of game right here. But definitely lots to talk about. I'm actually gonna just go ahead and mute this. Super excited for Sylvan. I think it's gonna be a little different from previous games of Sylvan that we have seen. So obviously this is the town. It's looking real good and nice. I might actually just speed this up just a tick. I guess I can always pause it. I'll just go normal, whatever. Doesn't really matter. But it's looking real good. I know obviously some people wanted the full 3D towns like they did in Heroes 5, although this isn't fully that. It's still very, very nice to look at, very good. So as we see here with the heroes, so it's basically Warden or Druids. That's basically the might or magic choices that you have based on your hero. Druid for them obviously being magic, more magic based than might. Then the Wardens will obviously be might, and we get to see a little bit of the maps here. It seems like a lot of the maps actually have kind of themes to it. I don't know if they just did this for these reveals or not. But this obviously looks very, you know, foresty with all the trees and stuff like that for Sylvan, so maybe it goes by your area. I'm not for sure on all that, but that is what we are least worried about. We want to talk about these creatures. So as we are seeing here with the fawn, which is similar to previous hunters that we have seen in the other games, the fawn is actually, to me, is super similar to the skeletons, not only from this game but also Heroes 5. So skeletons in Heroes 5 and in this game are melee creatures, and then you upgrade them, and then you can choose either to continue to keep them melee or do skeleton archers. And this game with these fawns, or previous games similar to hunters, the fawns, you start with archer, a ranged unit, and then the upgrade you either stay as archer or flip it to this fawn warrior that we are seeing here. So I do like that. I like the little bit of variety that they offer there. Now, hoplets, as I have been saying and feeling in my soul, I knew they were going to be pretty weak as far as defensively. I'm actually surprised at their attack, but it seems like this third one is a little bit more balanced based on that. But I definitely figured that they were going to be a little bit weaker creatures because they seem much more utility driven than they are just, based on creature stats and skills in general. So I do think that hoplets are going to be a little bit more utility based as far as how useful they are to your team. Obviously, those other two hoplets are much more weakened on the defensive side, but the other one is a little bit more balanced, and I think that one is the only one that has a it's difficult because I don't know if you guys are following them in Discord, but they have revealed other things for all of these creatures, and some of this didn't even make it to this video. So I don't know if they're getting rid of that stuff or they just didn't add it. Obviously, any of this is subject to change, but this Iriad here I think is going to be a super strong tier 3 unit, very tanky, obviously can hit multiple units there, has some great abilities as well, which we will go over. So this one can actually also block shots being fired. I think it's 50% or something. It's less damage based on who is behind him. I know is an ability that he has. And then this one, and I believe that one actually, also when it dies, it spawns a essentially a crystal, kind of like this guy, unless I'm mixing them up. But I believe puts a crystal down on that essentially dead body to where you then can't pass through it. I'm not sure if it can be destroyed or not. I'm sure it probably can, but it probably takes a little bit. But um, I thought that was a cool idea. But yeah, this Iriads between how much tankiness they have at tier 3 and how much damage, plus all the abilities that we will see later on, they're going to be super strong. And that other Iriad here, this one actually calls all units to attack them and forces the units to attack them within like a 2 hex range, I believe. Um, so that can, and anybody that attacks him, I don't know if it's just when he activates that ability or not, but anybody that attacks him automatically takes at least one. So if a tier 7 attacks him, you're guaranteed to kill one of the tier 7s that end up attacking that unit. So much like if anybody played Heroes 5, the Wraith, the Harm Touch, or the Death Touch, whatever, that's essentially what it is. You're forcing whomever to attack you, and you're guaranteed to kill one of them for attacking you, plus the retaliation on top of that. So it's a super strong tier 3 unit. Again, we don't get into a lot of that. I try to fill you guys in on as much as I know based on, you know, other things. This is the first time we are seeing this unit though. I'm not going to try to pronounce that. Aqualodal. Sure, we'll go with that. Seems decent. Obviously a ranged unit. It's going to be, I feel like that's something that Sylvan has always done, has been a very, which I've always enjoyed, because I liked range units. I would rather sit back and pick you off before you even get to me. And it seems like all of these units, not all, but um, between the Fawn being able to do ranged, and then we just saw the Aqualodal, which is tier 4, ranged. And then tier 5 here, Herbomancer, which is similar to Druids that we've seen as well, seems to be the new remote attack. And I thought this guy was going to be very ranged. I'm guessing not so much, but we do see later on some abilities that he does that are spells that are ranged. So I think this guy is going to be remote attack, as we're seeing, which is new in this game. So the Fawn and Aqualodal shot a ranged attack from far to the left, far to the right. Um, so you have melee, which is obviously, you know, hex to hex attack, ranged units, which is the two I just named, and then this remote attack, which is still at range but very close range, which is what Olden era is doing for some units, which I think is pretty cool. Troglodytes have that as well. So I think that's what we're going to see with the Herbomancer that we are seeing here is this remote attack. So a lot of longer range attack options for Sylvan there. And then we see, I'm not going to try to pronounce that either, but we've seen obviously in previous games, Sylvan always seems to have a unicorn or a mundo or some sort of stag or something like that. So they're obviously bringing that back here at the tier 6 unit tier with the Q-Lin. We're just going to go with that. And then lastly we have the Phoenix. So we don't get to see the third Phoenix. Again, I'm not sure if they just do that on purpose. I'm sure again some stuff is still, you know, changing as you can see down there, you know, development build subject to change. So I'm sure some of the stuff that they've revealed to us that I'm even talking about from the Discord and everything is different, or either coming or going from the game. I'm not for sure. This is just based on what I already know. Obviously, feel free to ask questions. I'll do my best to answer, but can also go and follow them in Discord as well. I do like, I feel like this is probably the best siege that I've seen, not so much inside the castle, although it is cool that they have the symbols on the hexes, but the little kind of like spores that they have here, they look very spiky and stuff. I do like that. I don't remember the other ones very well. I don't think they stood out to me as much as these ones do. But we will slow this down even further so we can slowly talk about these a little bit. I'll try to get this out of my way. Whoops. Okay, so obviously a active ability that you have to activate just increases damage dealt and speed until the end of that round. So not the entire fight, just the round. This is what I was talking about with one of the hoplets. Increases this creature's hero's spell power by a significant amount until the end of the current round. So I'm guessing they probably have pretty high initiative. I don't even remember what it was from earlier in the video. You can go back if you want. I'm not going to. But I imagine they're relatively high, so then they can do this, or even if they are late, then you can just cast your hero late. But I do think that's going to be interesting to be able to give that. I don't remember what the other hoplet did. But the other upgrade did do something. I don't think it was... Actually, I think it just healed itself, maybe. Something like that. I'm not for sure. Obviously, it's not going to be in this video, so forgive me, or, you know, possibly them. I'm not sure if they're keeping that or what's going on. This is one of the things I was talking about. All enemies within a 2 hex radius, why won't this go away? Can only attack the crystal Iriad until the end of the current round. Doesn't end the turn and can only be used once awakened. So once you activate this ability, all enemies have to attack him. It does look like, at least based off this descriptor, I think his passive is actually the anytime he gets attacked, you automatically lose a life. I thought it was with this activation. But obviously I am at least currently wrong based on what we're reading here. So yeah, everybody within 2 hexes of him has to attack him, or yeah, it seems like you could probably do other things, but if you are going to attack, you are forced to attack him. Which again, I think his passive would just be the you know, that can be really good against, you know, high tier units to force them to lose some. So Aqualodal, first time we are seeing this, fully embraces its elemental nature, significantly increasing its speed, initiative, and HP, and gaining the ability to perform ranged attacks against adjacent enemies until the end of battle. Usable once per battle, doesn't end the turn. So this is the whole battle once it's awakened. With this active ability, which says water 1, so it makes me think that you can obviously get better than that. But we do see a lot of the awakens is pretty much just this first part of increasing speed, initiative, and HP. But gaining the ability to perform ranged attacks against adjacent enemies. So I'm guessing that you can obviously hit multiple once you activate it, compared to just the normal ranged attack that we saw earlier. So that will be interesting to see. So this is what I thought was interesting. So swirls the target into the whirlpool, leaving them confused. While confused, their speed and initiative are significantly reduced. Can only be used once they are awakened, but seems like this might be a decent ability to activate from time to time on certain, you know, people to confuse them and lessen their speed and initiative, especially if you can somehow get it early, which Sylvan's Faction law, which is new there. Faction law is very much based on focus points. So you need focus points to activate these abilities. Again, I'm trying to be fast, but if you have any questions, please, I'll do my best to answer. But yeah, so you need focus points to activate abilities in this game. You can't just, Harpy goes in whenever it wants, or, Blood Maiden type movement whenever you want, or anything like that. You have to activate these abilities. Not every single ability is activated, but most are. So it's cool to see that. So this is a different one. So we saw earlier that the Herbomancer was only 2 hexes off, so the remote attack, which is what I'm guessing they're going to be, that's my best guess. But this is obviously an ability which instantly reminds me of the Swarm ability from the sprites in Heroes 5 that they could cast. It seems like this is essentially the same thing, but attacks chosen target with a swarm of bees that deals moderate amount of damage. At the beginning of each target's turn, so at the beginning of this troglodyte's turn, it's attacked by bees yet again. So at the beginning of each target's turn, it's attacked by bees yet again. So yeah, they're constantly going to, every single time that troglodyte takes a turn, is going to be attacked by bees. And this effect can stack. So I'm guessing you can just cast and cast and cast on one unit and just have them absolutely get destroyed by bees every single time it goes. I'm going to guess that there's a certain amount of mana that these guys have based on spells and stuff like that. Or just the ability. I mean, it's an active ability, so I guess you have to, if you're going to use your focus points, you're going to have to only use it on certain things, which I kind of like. Not everything is so, it adds a layer of strategy, having to figure out what abilities on what creatures you want to activate based on how many focus points you have or are going to get. Because this seems pretty strong, especially if you get it on certain units. So as we see here on the certain, so that's only on that. Okay, so that's on the Herbomancer, so I don't know if all of them have that, because Herbomancer is the base guy. And then that's the other upgrade, and then this is the third upgrade. And then we're about to see the third upgrade, so I'm guessing maybe this swarm of bees is good for all of them, possibly. So this one, Echoes of Murmur Woods, makes the Whispering World echo once, allowing the hero to use the spellbook again this round. Removes any effects that prohibit its use. So if for whatever reason you can't use your spells or whatever, this guy will stop that and also allow you to use it again. So you could, if you had enough focus points per the round, not the battle, per round. So this game is going to go by round. So you start everybody's heroes and creature go one round, and then the next round, and then go again, obviously, until everybody's dead. But obviously, you could do something like, instantly cast, use focus points with this guy to activate that, which I'm guessing is going to be his turn, which is fine, and then cast again with your hero, which they've definitely made it clear that magic is going to be strong in this game. We've seen that from some of the arena gameplay and stuff. So this is what I was talking about earlier. Pretty much the rest of these that we're going to see is what we've already read. Significantly increase its speed, initiative, and HP. This one gains a swift strike until the end of battle. I'm not sure exactly what that means. We've seen swift strikes before, but they're always a little bit different. So we'll see what that means. So this also gains swift strike, so yeah, but still speed, initiative, and HP plus swift strike. And then this one we're seeing with the Phoenix fully embraces elemental nature. Yeah, same thing. Allowing it to deal. Allowing it to always deal maximum damage until the end of battle. So once you get that, which still it says fire 2, so I'm wondering if you, I wonder if it's fire 2 because it's tier 7, or once you get fire 2, however that's going to work, but maximum damage until the end of battle is going to be super strong. Definitely worth the focus points there for a tier 7, especially with the area effect that it does. So Supernova here. Reveal its true heart, exploding in a whirlwind of fire and dealing massive magic damage to all enemies within 2 hexes and making them burn. While burning, each affected enemy takes moderate amount of magic damage at the start of its turn. This effect can stack. Can only be used once awakened. So yeah, it seems like Sylvan is very much shoot you at range and beat you down with stacks of damage with time. Um, and then yeah, it seems like basically much like how we've seen in Sylvan, which I've always found Sylvan to be one of the most balanced factions in most games. It's very, here we have backline archers and casters, and we have frontline tanks that are actually, frontline tanks and stuff. So it seems very much still that, you can range attack with the Fawn. You got hoplets, which are definitely a little bit more utility and not super good tanks at all, but Iriads are definitely going to be some nice tanks. You got the Aqualodal, which is going to be ranged again, and then Herbomancer, which gives you some um, mid-range damage plus stacks, and then you got the um, Qlin, which I'm guessing is going to be decent, tier 6 as far as tanks, and then this Phoenix as well. So definitely a good balance of range and frontline, which I would say every single faction is doing a very good job. They've done a very good job of having every single faction have a little bit of everything. As we've seen with Dungeon, they got Troglodytes, they got Medusa, and the I forget the other archer's name. It's not even an archer. I think they call it a. I don't think it's still a blade dancer, even though that's from Sylvan, but that's always what I come up with in my head, even though it's wrong. Necropolis has a couple. Hive does not have any except for one upgrade for their tier 6. But this is the Sylvan faction. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think about Sylvan. I am super excited to get my hands on every single faction and play it all. So please do not forget to like and subscribe. Go check out my other faction reveals and reactions and talks with them as well. And we will see you guys in the next one. We were definitely going to be pumping out more Olden era videos once they keep coming out for us, and we'll definitely be pumping them out once the game fully releases here within the next few months, unless they push it back. Hopefully not. But we will see you guys in the next one. Thank you.